Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 27th, 2026 Covington City Council meeting. In compliance with state law, City Council special and regular meetings will be held in both a hybrid and in-person, telephonic, and virtual options. So I call the City Council meeting to order. Krista, can you do the roll call?
Yes. Councilmember Soltis.
I'm here.
Councilmember Wagner.
Here.
Councilmember Hartsock.
Here.
Councilmember Hartjehausen. Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter.
Here.
And Mayor Smith.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Can we get a motion to excuse Councilmember Hartshausen, please?
So moved.
I'll second. Sure.
Been moved and seconded to excuse Councilmember Hartshausen. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we've excused Jennifer. Would you all rise now for the Pledge of Allegiance? Remember, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Next up is approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes? Regan?
No change.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Up next, moving right along, is reports of commission. We don't have a report from CETUS tonight, although we were all emailed the report from Josh, so take a look at that. Up next is Youth Council. Do we have anyone from Youth Council tonight? Anyone online? Okay. Arts Commission next. Do we hear from anyone from Arts Commission? No. Okay. Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice. Prem, good to see you.
Oh, good.
Some help him.
Disabled.
You want to help him?
I think.
Can adjust it.
Well, I think that'll work.
Good evening, Council member and Mayor Smith.
Good evening.
My name is Prem Ponam. I am invited of Equity, Cultural, and Social Justice Committee. We had our last meeting last week, May, and don't worry to institute what we discussed several issues. One of the issues we discussed are Civic 101 community survey. We are trying to do Civic 101 and we want your from the resident what they want to learn in it. Maybe how local government are funded, how different between federal, local, state, and local government. So we are on track of developing survey. So before we do that, we want to hear from residents what they want to do. And one of the secondly, we also discussed the upcoming application for subcommittee, and in February we want to acknowledge some post recognizing back 18 months and what day of social justice we think it's important to show city commitment to equity and inclusion. And lastly, we created Juneteenth subcommittee to discuss ideas about what we want to do in Juneteenth and how we want to get involved and how we want city to get involved. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 23rd, while we will be discussing the outreach plan for Civic 101. We noticed there is a lot of multi-family housing in Covington, and we are trying to target multi-family housing and apartment because those people usually get repaired. Thank you. Thank you. If you have any question, I will be happy to.
Yes. Any questions? When you mentioned a survey going out to our residents, do you know what the date is? And I apologize if I missed that.
We are still deciding in that we figure out that we figure out that we need to look at what community is and how to target and how to solve it in manner that we get more amount of response. So our tentative date is already March. So we plan to read it out, solve it on demand, and we plan to do it more form of engagement. So that is form of engagement.
Thank you. Any other question?
No.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Up next, Human Services Commission. We have anyone? No? Okay. Move along. Parks and Rec Commission. Yep.
Should work. Will tell me. Okay. Okay. All right. 2 for the price of 1 tonight. So we got Connie here with me, and we're on a spate of special meetings right now, just due to schedules and school breaks and all sorts of things. So we had our meeting at the very beginning of this month, mostly to talk about Metropolitan Park District. So I know you guys are going to get this information from Ethan in terms of like the nuts and bolts of what it is. So I will just kind of tell you our reactions and our feedback to the information that we got. I think the most eye-opening thing for all of us was the spreadsheet of scenarios and options that Ethan gave us. The Metropolitan Parks District, as you know, you can set the levy rate that you want up to a maximum of 75 cents per thousand. And so he gave us several scenarios based on like a 23-cent levy, a 37-cent, and a 75-cent levy. And that was the most interesting thing. The Parks Commission all agreed. I mean, maybe not all agreed, but definitely had some version of agreement that we should not start at a 75-cent levy. And I don't know, do you want to?
Yeah, no, that was unanimous. I think it was shocking for people to see the number of different taxes that the Covington residents are currently experiencing. And then, the different scenarios, like Laura mentioned, the different tax levels that we have the capability ranging all the way up to 75, which was, a bit off the table for our commission to get behind. So definitely looking at one of the beginner levels as an entry point.
Like Connie said, one of the things that came up in our discussion was where do our property taxes go? Aside from the actual tax rate that goes to King County, all of the levies and other things that are tagged on, where do they go? And so Ethan pulled up that information for us, and that was highly educational. And actually, that information I could serve to change the minds of Parks Commissioner members in real time. Like we could see the education happening even amongst the commissioners and looking at the total package of where all of our taxes are going, and especially the entities that it is going to. Was very, very interesting. And one commissioner in particular said, this to me really highlights the need that we have for something in Covington to support Covington because our taxes are going everywhere else except Covington.
Yeah, I think it actually helped us create the awareness amongst our commission, which I think if we were able to communicate that to the citizenry, it would educate the populace of, you know, within the confines of our taxing area of the city of Covington, where that money goes, you know, what comes back or stays in Covington. And I think it really makes it easier for us to talk to our neighbors and our constituents about the benefits of an MPD and how earmarking that money specifically for recreation and programs in Covington so that they feel confident that the money that they're contributing stays here in the community and it goes for a designated purpose and not just general money that we hope will come back to parks. So I think it makes the conversation actually much easier for us, the people on the commission. And I think it will in general once we get the information in.
So a suggestion as education is going out, if council or staff chooses to include this property tax information as part of the education piece for the community, color code, like everything orange goes to King County, everything blue goes to the school district, but like color code it so that people can see visually like where their stuff is going and they can see that Covington has like no color. So along with that, we also had a conversation about the challenges with the King County Park levy, specifically the low rate of return that we as Covington and South King County in general gets. I brought some information from the city of Kent as kind of an illustration of that, but also just the challenges of helping people understand that as they vote for the King County levy, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but Covington receives very little from that. And so we anticipate that there's going to be some confusion and maybe even some pushback from the Covington citizenry about, well, we just voted for parks. Why are you asking for more money? And so again, you know, color coding and saying that well, actually that goes to King County and King County is, you know, Redmond to here.
And our proportionate share
is very low.
And the ROI on that
yeah
contribution.
Yeah, we're as a commission, we're not pleased, but that's out of our hands. So did I miss anything, Connie?
No, that got it. Okay. Most of our conversation.
Yeah, that was the substance of it all. So
Christina.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah.
No, I think the element of shock is very, very important in this. And if we could capture that, whether it's in words or in a picture, but I would really like to see maybe like the top 2 or 3 visuals that impacted the Parks and Rec the most, because I would really like to capture that shock factor, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that could just get sent to the council or somehow stored away for future education of the public, because you're completely right. We get blown away all the time with information and we're like, gosh, if we could just get that out to everyone and then we can just get creative with how we distribute that information. But still, it's important. We don't have much time or capacity to do that. So targeting those shock factors is super important.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that we weren't coming in against any tax that's being levied. We didn't say, you know, don't ever vote for a King County Parks levy ever in the future. It was just a matter of, you know, here's what you're paying. Here's the breakdown of the property tax, right? You know, where it goes. And, you know, here's your Covington amount. And so that's what we wanted people to understand. Not that we were speaking against any one group that was collecting money, but just that, you know, the citizens would have a chance to advocate for something that they really believed in. And this would be a way to do that.
Statistics are powerful.
Yeah. And in terms of what Ethan showed us, I think he just literally went into the data that finance has, and it was an Excel chart, and it just broke down, where the money went and like how much per thousand. And there's, like, I had no idea. I had no idea we had a King County Marine District. Who knew? So, I mean, it was educational in multiple ways, but I remember looking at that thinking, man, if you color coded that, there'd be like 3 colors that would take up the vast majority of that. And it would just be really visually powerful. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
other?
Did Ethan provide any estimate at those different levels of what we could potentially collect?
He did.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can like give you
Just-
the brief
right.
breakdown. So everything that he gave us as scenarios or options were just kind of based on his assumptions of what we would prefer based on previous discussions. So nothing like super vetted. But the projects that he chose were Covington Community Park, Jenkins Creek Trail, Jenkins Creek Park, and Founders Park, doing work in those, not even identifying a particular project in each of those. And then the 23-cent levy, I'm just going to give you percentages of the total cost. Oh, for Covington Community Park, it was a synthetic and lighted field, replacing the soccer field with synthetic turf and lights. So if we did a levy amount at 23 cents per thousand in 1 year, that would get us 19% of the way into that project. So it would cover 19% of the cost of a synthetic field and lights. It would also cover 6% of the cost of the Jenkins Creek Trail, extending that. It would cover 28% of the cost of Jenkins Creek Park master plan, like first phase build out. Now, of course, this is a total dollar amount, and he's just kind of plugging things in. So this could be adjusted, but I think he was looking in terms of like what makes sense to take the next step.
Sure.
And then nothing for Founders Park. If you move up to 37 cents, Covington Community Park remains at 19%. Jenkins Creek Trail remains at 6%. Jenkins Creek Park gets a little bit taken away from it at 15%, but then we can do a build out, Founders Park at 25% of the next build out. And actually for the 75-cent levy, it all stays the same because of the laws, but what changes is the capital reserve. So in the 23-cent levy, our capital reserve that we build for future projects is only at 87,000. That goes up to 715,000 with 37-cent levy. With the 75-cent levy, it goes up to over 2.5 million. So really the difference, as I understand it, in the levy rates, once you kind of bump up beyond 40 cents, is the capital reserve and how much you're keeping in capital reserve for future projects. And of course that becomes cash in the bank that we can use to match with grants.
We're capped at 11.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's 37 cents or 75 cents, we're capped at 11 million of investment. So that changes with the projects that we can work on, but increases the reserve. So there's something that we balance there. And at that 23-cent amount, we've identified like $11 million in projects, but we know we'll only raise about 9.5 million. So we'll have a deficit there that we expect could be made up from King County grants and state grants.
And the pass-through funds from the Parks Levy.
Yeah. And then if we bump it up to 37, we have increased the projects that we can fund by a little over $2 million. And that's about what we're going to be collecting in that additional 12 or 13, 14 cents per thousand.
But I know when Ethan gives you this presentation, he will give you all this data and all this information and probably explain it in a bit more nuanced of a way. I'm going back a couple of weeks here. But the basic gist is that none of these options is going to be fully funded with an MPD. An MPD is going to be sort of like the snowball effect, where you push it down the hill, and the longer it rolls, the more it gathers, the more it coalesces, the more helpful it becomes. But yeah, not a quick fix scenario.
But it gives you some projects to put in front of the voters. So it gives them an idea of what we could start building or creating even within the first year, once we go through a year of collection, what we can start to do. And I think that's what they want to see, is that we start doing something.
The other thing Ethan pointed out is the MPD gives us money to put to projects that can be matched with grants, because very few, I don't even know if there are any grants that just like give you money and say, here you go. They all require the city to put in a quarter or a half or match it halfway. Well, we have really no way to do that. We've been matching grants to grants, and that's getting harder and harder. And so this will make that project much easier, and actually will increase the number of grants that we can apply for, because now we have funds to match.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beth?
Yeah, just a quick question. I'm hearing a lot about projects, but I was also under the impression that we were using this money to help raise our levels of service in those parks too, like from an operational maintenance standpoint.
Yeah.
That's
So
that too, I would have.
sorry, I was just so enamored with the project. So down on the next row, 23-cent levy adds 150,000 to parks maintenance. 37-cent levy adds 300,000. A 75-cent adds 450. So that's definitely accounted for. Also accounted for is some planning for the Whole Health Community Center, and then about $100,000 for support services for the city to do the paperwork and such for this. So that's all included as well.
And just so Laura doesn't have to be so on
No.
on the spot with this,
I know.
we will be going into detail with this on Saturday at the summit
Good.
with the MPD. So
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I might have stolen,
Good job, Laura. You
I've
got-
stolen half of Ethan's thunder, but that's
It'll be
right. I'm
familiar.
here and he's not, so
When he starts talking, it'll be very.
you're like, we got
Yes,
this.
that's like great.
So, yep. Anyway, any other
Yeah.
questions?
Questions? Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys. Thank
Good to see
you.
you.
Thanks.
Up next is the Planning Commission. I think Damon's on the line there.
Yes. Good
How are you?
evening, everyone. Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. On behalf of Planning Commission, I would like to provide an update on the introduction of the House Bill 1998, which is co-living housing, and the accompanying gap analysis prepared by the Burke Consulting. So at our recent meeting, staff presented an overview of the new state requirements under RCW 3670A 535, which mandate that cities allow co-living housing in all zones where 6 or more residential units are permitted. The gap analysis highlights that Covington's existing code does not currently define co-living housing, relies on outdated terms like dormitory, and includes density, parking, and development standards that exceed which state law allows. Approximately 350 parcels in the city could theoretically support co-living housing, and several sections of the Covington Municipal Code will require updates to ensure compliance, particularly related to definitions, permitted uses, density calculations, parking maximums, and alignment of development standards with those applied to multifamily housing. So no action was taken at this introductory meeting. Staff will return to the Planning Commission with draft code amendments for review and recommendation at a future session. And just a reminder that we have the joint council meeting on February 23rd, 24th with the city council. That's all. Any questions?
Any questions? Nope. Don't have any questions, Damon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. Up next, public communications. We don't have any. So we're up to our first public comment period. Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they're a Covington resident. Comments are directed to the city council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants you permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute on the phone. And I see Margaret Harto would like to speak.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Hardo. I am a resident of Covington at 26209, 169th Place Southeast, apartment 512. Thank you for being able to share with you this evening. I don't have any written notes, but what I want to say is written on my heart, and two subjects I'd like to address the council about. One, I received news this past week of the passing of what I would call a giant in this community over the last 4 decades. Many of you remember Jim Ramseth, who was the owner, the pharmacist of Covington Pharmacy. Jim and his wife Tish, had the pharmacy, and Tish was our first postmistress in the back room. Tish has been gone for several years, but Jim missed her terribly. On Sunday, this last Sunday, he decided to join her. And just a little brief bit of history. Jim was one of the original business people in this community to start Covington Days before there was ever a Covington. He had a sidewalk sale outside his drugstore, and along with the neighbor next door who had an appliance store, if I remember right. And then along came Jeff Wagner eventually too. But those 3 people actually started what we now do as Covington Days. And then there's the magic of Santa coming on the fire engine at Covington Day, at Holly Days. Jim was the original Santa there, and oh, did he enjoy creating that magic for the kids. He was a member, I believe, of the chamber. He was a charter member of the Kiwanis Club, a past president of the Kiwanis Club, and someone who didn't even live in our city, but he and Tish adopted our city and everyone in it. And for years and years, he made sure that people not only received the correct prescription, but a little doctorly advice along the way. And many people did not know how many others he supported in this community when they had medical needs, whether it was a prescription, whether it was medical equipment. He just felt he needed to take care of them. So we're going to miss him terribly. And I believe that Jim and Tish at one point were honorary citizens of the year for Covington. So much loved and will certainly be missed. And his daughter Renee shared with me that his services will be at St. Anthony's Catholic Church in Renton this Friday at 11 a.m. So the next sharing I want to is about my home. I live at Covington Place Apartments, senior living, they call it. Way back almost 20 years ago, there was no affordable living option for seniors in our little Tri-City area. Covington stepped forward and worked with a local developer to create Covington Place. And Village Concepts was the owner of Covington Place up until 2020, when the property was sold and the nightmare began. Right off the bat, our van disappeared. Our apartment complex could market itself simply by saying it's close to downtown. There was always a van available to take people wherever they needed to go. Doctor appointment, post office, shopping, you name it, restaurant. I know I'm out of time.
Give me 30 more seconds.
But that disappeared. And since January of 2020 to January of 2026, we have had 15 on-site managers. The other 3 staff members, most often, if we have them, are 90-day temps. The city has been involved before in trying to make our apartments safe and healthy places for us to live. I will tell you, we are most grateful for law enforcement officers who many, many times have rescued us, as well as Puget Sound Fire. But many needs are left unmet. And I mentioned Puget Sound Fire because just this last week, because there's only one staff member there now, wasn't on site. They had to actually break down a door to rescue someone inside who was on the floor. They had to break it down because there was not a staff member to let them in the office to get the key to the apartment. Okay. That is unacceptable. We now have an issue again of black mold and the repairs not being made that are supposed to be made by law in a timely manner. We have 2 residents who are under doctor care right now because of upper respiratory disease due to black mold. I could go on and on, but what I want to say, the bottom line is, we have a county and a state and a federal government that want to continue to build affordable housing. And I'm saying to you, until they can make the current housing sustainable and healthy environments for us to live, they have no business spending money on more housing. And I'd like to suggest that you look at an option called a registry, local registry for multifamily housing that's being used in a number of communities in our state, and it allows the city then to keep track of how much housing and what shape it's in. That would certainly help us. And as you advocate down in Olympia, I would please ask you to take that message with you. You need to make it sustainable for the people who are living here. We don't have a lot of options. I could move somewhere else, but that is my home. And I want to be an advocate for it. And I'm asking you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yes.
No, I said thank you. Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah. Anyone else in the audience wishing to address the council? Is there anyone online? I don't see. Okay. We'll have another public opportunity for public comment at the end of the agenda. We're now up to the approval of the consent agenda. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Up next is new business. Consider appointments to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Does the council wish to take action? Yes, Debbie, and you, Jeff.
Oh,
Go ahead, Jeff.
your hand
first. Yep.
okay. Sorry, the correct verbiage here.
Gotta get to that part too.
You have it?
All right. Yep.
I would like to nominate Robert Poole for, I'm missing that, there we go, right. To fill position number 1 on the Parks and Rec Commission with a term expiring January 31st, 2029.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Robert Poole to fill position 1 on the Parks and Recreation Commission with term expiring January 31st, 2029. Debbie, you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. Well, Robert is reapplying to fill a role that he's filled for the prior 4 years. And he has got a lot of ideas around not just having a team of like-minded people, but balancing that with diverse opinions and ideas. And I liked that because we all tend to draw towards that as like us. But I like the idea of that balance. And I think we do have a balanced team. He talked about how we asked questions about the role of the commission. And one thing that he thought would be better is if more Parks and Rec people maybe came to our meetings to learn a little bit more about the city versus what we do hear a lot of, and we agree, is that we have more meetings with the commissions. And that hasn't always worked out because of everyone's time constraints, but I did like that he would kind of rally, he wants to rally support with the other commissioners of let's all occasionally come to a city council meeting and hear what's happening at the bigger picture level. he feels that it's a very important role to be an ambassador of the city when he's out working with the community and trying to get ideas on where we've got a shortfall with teens and seniors. And we've heard that before, but he feels that that was something that he wanted to bring up to us.
Great. Christina.
Sure.
Speak to your second.
Absolutely, everything that Beth has said, or that Debbie has said. And Robert just strikes me as someone who loves to serve everywhere he can, but also does it with excellence. His ideas were endless. I really appreciated him saying that we should utilize our schools more. These are public facilities. And I was like, why don't we do that more? And and he's just a wealth of knowledge and ideas and attendance. Just really seeing outside, like an eagle eye approach to everything. So it was wonderful talking to him. The more we talked, I felt like the more I learned. So yes, I am in great support of Robert being back on the commission.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak for or against the motion? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Robert Poole to fill position number 1 on the Parks and Recreation Commission with the term expiring January 31st, 2029. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Robert's been reappointed. Congratulations. Does the council wish to take motion? Jeff?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Connie Elliott to fill position number 2 on the Parks and Rec Commission with a term expiring January 31st, 2029.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Connie Elliott to fill position number 2 on the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term expiring January 31st, 2029. Jeff, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, I've known Connie for, a long time. No, a lot less than how old I am. But Connie has always brought great diversity. I mean, she listens to all opinions. She listens to everybody's advice, but it's bringing a good balance. She wants to see a balance with, like, we have tenure with current people, new people. It's nice to have the diversity on the commission that talks about family, sports, parks, and trails. And seeing the ability and wishing to have that ability to launch what's working on now and bringing in what's new into the future. I remember working with Connie the past time for the MPD and how hard she and another parks commissioner worked so hard to try and get that passed. And I know that this time we will get it passed, because I know with your tenacity and your energy, you never give up. And I'm just looking forward to hopefully seeing Connie continue her work on the Parks and Rec Commission.
Thank you, Jeff. Beth, let's speak for a second.
Sure. I really appreciate, as Jeff pointed out, like Connie's been on the Parks Rec before. She knows where we started, but she hasn't gotten so tied up in the past that she made that comment about, like, we're on the precipice of change as our city grows and as we have to develop new programming or find creative ways to bring those services to the community. And also, she really highlighted that she's not afraid to not just be an advocate at events, but every day. Like, you wear that robe when you're out in the community to make sure that we're not missing people, try to get as many ideas at the table so that we can bring a complete parks and recreation package and services to our community. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak for you? Yes, Debbie.
Well, I would like to say how much I appreciate Connie's desire to advocate for our citizens. And she does that not just by listening, but digging. So I think that's just a great attribute to have for this commission. And I just want to say thank you.
Anyone else can speak for or against? Well, okay. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Connie Elliott to fill position number 2 on the Parks and Recreation Commission with the term expiring January 31st, 2029. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Release, no, okay. Connie, congratulations. Does council wish to still take action? Yes, Jeff.
I'd like to nominate Eva Oberg for position number 5 on the Parks and Rec Commission for a term expiring January 31st, 2028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Sorry, want to catch up here. All right, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Eva Oberg to fill position number 5 on the Parks and Rec Commission with the term expiring January 31st, 2028. Jeff, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Yeah, we had 5 good applicants tonight for 3 positions. And each applicant was very, very good. Eva brought something, I mean, she's involved with her child in soccer, use the aquatic center. She's a strategy manager for a local cell service. She likes to give back to the community, and she wants to provide safe spaces. And what I mean by safe, or what she meant by safe spaces, is places where kids can be to enjoy themselves, to have fun. She wants to see Covington continue to grow and have areas for people to be able to enjoy themselves, like-minded people. And needing to be able to provide that liaison is one of the most important things, is to be able to be a liaison to those in the community, to the Parks and Rec Commission, and to the council. So, but you have to be present. You can't just sit back and listen. You have to be present to be involved, to hear what's going on. And that hit home with me, because I believe in that completely, is to be present to get things done.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Debbie, do you speak to your second?
Yes, thank you. So Eva, with her background in her job as I'm not sure I could say this word again, right? Synthesizer. She takes a lot of information and boils it down for her business to see how it meets the needs. And she believes that she's got that skill and quality that she can bring. And also she sees herself as being strategic. She's a collaborator. She likes to find the best in all on a commission or a committee and find the best use of everyone's skills. And then I liked the way she talked about looking at our projects and yes, managing each project, but also looking out long range. How can we break things into smaller bites so we can start to get some progress? She's got a 7-year-old and now has time to get back to the community. I think we hear this a lot from applicants, that they now have time to get back to the community, and that is just so well, it just makes my heart warm that we've got people that now have time to give back, and they feel compelled to do so because they want to see our city grow and be successful.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the nomination? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to appoint Eva Oberg to fill position number 5 on the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term expiring, January 31st, 2028. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, congratulations, Eva. You've been appointed to the Parks and Rec Commission. That concludes our new business. So we're now up to future agenda items. Is there anything the council would like to see on a future agenda? Okay. Now up to council staff comments. We'll start with the chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have no comments.
Okay.
Today. Thank you.
Let's go to Dawn then, next.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to let you know that we actually issued the notice to proceed for the maintenance shop project today. We had our pre-construction conference with the contractor yesterday, and that went very well. And they're very eager to get started. They plan to start to mow in next Thursday, February 5th. And they'll be getting that site prepped, doing erosion control, things along those lines. They do plan to bring in a job trailer as well, but that will probably be later on into the month of February. So things are starting to move on that, and just wanted to give you that update. Thank you.
Don. Any questions for Don?
No, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I don't see Ethan. Is there, should not pick up. Selena.
Hi, good evening, council. Nothing from me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Casey.
I just wanted to share with you, we've got some year-end numbers that are starting to trickle in, and I just got some numbers today from Vine Maple Place for their HB 1406 funds that I thought I'd share with you. For last year, they served over 132 households and 423 individuals with the sales tax funds that we give them. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to bring up something that Jennifer asked me to share with the council. I emailed it to you as a letter from Ryan 9 to the Muckleshoot Indian tribe. Just a Ryan 9 inviting the Muckleshoot tribe to partner with them and ensure alignment in both of those entities' investments. And so Jennifer is seeking authorization from the council to sign that and submit it to the Muckleshoots.
So we're just looking for a consensus on that. Yeah, and you actually need us to, I think we talked about, you want us to actually say we.
Sure, that helps for
So,
record purposes that everyone's, or if you just indicate at the end that everyone.
so, and I don't see Riley's vote, but on the dais, there were 5 thumbs up. And I guess we can get Riley just to get the 4 against.
Yeah, can I vote now?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm
You're
for.
You're 4? Okay, okay. All right, so
Consensus.
6, yes.
All right, thank you. Then just, we'll see if I turn my mic off. So everybody, Saturday morning, breakfast at 7:30, the meeting starts at 8. And thank you for your contribution to the agenda as well.
Yeah. Up next is Mark.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no executive session this evening, and I have no additional report. Thank you.
Thank you. Krista.
Good evening, council. We are looking forward to seeing you Sunday.
Okay.
That's all I have for you.
Saturday.
On Sunday too. Yeah.
Apparently, I am a little tired.
Glad you
Thank
caught
you.
that. Christina.
Thought I missed something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's not on my calendar. No, it's okay. Thank you. Awesome applicants. I just wish we could have more space to say more yeses to folks. It always makes my heart warm to see how many people want to get back and just here to serve. And even ask how would you be an ambassador? I wouldn't change anything, just be who I am right now, already doing it. So it's just really cool. Our trip to Olympia yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Was wonderful. Always awesome to see our staff and council members and go and appeal to our legislators. It's always enlightening. There's something that I always walk away with. Sometimes positive, sometimes negative, but that's okay. It's a learning process. So that was a wonderful trip to all. I was meeting today with Claire from Skip. We do our annual executive board meetings individually. And that was very successful, and I'm really excited about some things coming down the pipeline that I will be sharing shortly. But we're sitting at Bruchel's, and every time somebody opened a door, even when the door wasn't open, we just hear the Kentwood students. So eventually, I was like, I gotta get out there. Like I have really bad FOMO. Like everybody knows this, but I have really bad FOMO. So I trotted through the students, hopped across the the crosswalk and just walked through. By the way, they're all so tall. I was like the shortest one there. And to my pleasant surprise, it was rather peaceful. There was they were just there to do what they were there to do. Yeah, sure, some kids were goofing off in their cars. That was not anticipated, I'm told. But they had 3 security guards on site. They had some staff mitigating the crosswalks. It sounds like there was an officer on standby in the parking lot. But fortunately, I heard about this last night, and I know that, and this was from a community member who was pretty seriously concerned about what this would do. Not necessarily on the day of the event today, though that was a concern because not only was there a protest, but there was going to be a protest toward the protesters. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But the concern was, and it was a very valid concern, that now moving forward, there's been a really big line drawn in the school, a very clear line, either you're for or you're against, and there's no in between. And perhaps this could provoke, just long-term kind of under the radar, but still, whether it's bullying, a depression from kids who are being bullied, but just like one of those things that might not catch the attention, but unfortunately, it was an event that didn't just do what they were there to do. They did it peacefully. I have no complaints about that, but I'm really hoping not to hear from our youth council that, somehow, because we don't need more division, that somehow this negatively impacted the school. So that's my hope. But I will be curious to see how, check the temperature in the future. And yeah, I am very much looking forward to spending a full Saturday with y'all wonderful people. No place I'd rather be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Riley next. That's not too much difficulty.
No, I'm prepared to speak. I do apologize for my lack of in-person attendance. I came down with strep throat and figured it would be better to annex myself, although it's my second meeting, so I do feel horrible for not being there in person. I wanted to also bring up the protests, since it's already on everyone's mind, talk about that. I actually went to the urgent care, and on my way home, I decided to take the long way just to see if that protest was still active, and it was in full swing. And from what I experienced just driving through it was just a lot of positive energy and hope feeling, I think. So I'm also hoping it has a positive and not a negative impact on the culture of the students in Covington. So that was wonderful to see. And then it sounds like I'm going to be attending the Water Resource Inventory Area 9 Forum tomorrow in place of Jennifer while she's on vacation celebrating her 50th. So I will report on our next meeting on how my first forum with them goes. Those are all the updates I have.
Thank you, Riley. Get better, okay?
Thank you.
Beth.
Sure. Yeah, again, just echoing what everyone said, but about going to our legislative visit to Olympia on yesterday. Always great to interact with our 47th district legislators and senators and representatives. And although it almost feels like speed dating a lot of times because you're just in the door, you say something quick and out. But if we do it year after year and throughout the year, we continue to build those relationships and hopefully get some of that advocacy for our residents too. It's not an easy job as even we know here, but it's even more challenging at the state level when there's so many varying opinions and such a diverse makeup of the different cities they all have to represent as a whole. I had a thought as I was listening to Prem talk about the surveys, and I know that we keep talking about survey fatigue, and I don't know if the city, like, is there a point person that maybe, I don't want to say controls or monitors, but so that we can spread them out so that like one commission might be doing one thing and another commission might be thinking they're going to do the same thing in the same month. And then is there a process? Do we have any?
We haven't really coordinated it structurally like you're talking about. We have Carla usually will help with those a little bit, but now different organizations like commissions are doing it a little bit separate from that. So there's probably not as much coordination between when they go out. But I think we've only done one in the last year for the MPD. And so this would be a second, obviously and those aren't the main city body per se, the commission, right? And then the CYC did one of the schools. So. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know if maybe it made sense for commissions to ask, say, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. And that way people aren't running into each other with like multiple things out there at the same time.
I think it's a good point, and we can make sure that the commission liaisons inform our team. And probably Carla would be that person because it goes out on social media.
Sure.
So yeah, good point. Thanks, Beth.
And I'm also looking forward to going to the SCA commission training on Wednesday, the 4th, not this Wednesday, but next week. So just to get a refresher on sitting on SCA, and then first pick meeting on the 11th, but that's about it. And Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Thank you. Debbie.
Thank you. I want to commend our youth council in launching their random acts of kindness. We're always all so inspired by their ideas of ways that you can pass blessings on to another person or share kindness, which is really needed in this day and time. So kudos to them. Yes, Olympia was a good trip. It's always encouraging to see how our representatives respond to us, because I feel like we have a relationship with them. It isn't just us talking to them and saying this is what we need, but we also hear back from them of understanding the breadth of their scope of work, and that we're just one small part of that. But I do feel like we have their ear. So if any of them are listening, thank you. Saturday, yes, we have our summit, lots to talk about then. And we had our first skateboard meeting of the year. We have a new chair, Dennis Martinez, and vice chair is Tony Troutner from Kent. And we had Metro gave an update on how they were able to change up some routes and add some additional routes during the flooding. And then we heard for the second time a presentation on what would be the Cascadia mega region, Portland to BC super train, high-speed rail. And I don't know, I guess I just don't quite get how many people there are out there that want to travel between Portland and BC, but we're talking about so many billions of dollars. And when will this be built? We don't know. But anyway, we heard about it again. Sorry if I'm sounding real skeptical. That is really all that I had. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jeff.
No comments.
Okay. Well, in my new position, I've got a whole list of a greater appreciation for the work you were doing. Up first, James DeLay probably all saw an email. James had asked us to resend or send a letter to the new developer for the BESS facility. Copenhagen Infrastructure Partner has taken over that potential to develop the location just north of Matson Middle School. And he was asking that we update and send a letter to them just expressing our concerns with that location. And so just basically looking again for consensus on sending an updated letter to the new potential developer. And so just asking for that. So
is that the same letter we sent before, or is it going to be rewritten?
I believe it's going to be primarily that letter, but maybe some updated information, like if there's new actions that have come out of the state, things like that, but primarily the same letter. And if you're interested, I guess we could circulate it with the council before we send it out. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I'm looking for consensus on updating previous letter, circulate it with the council beforehand and sending it out. Yeah.
So if we're circulating it, asking for input, that will need to come back to a council meeting.
Okay. Can we do that at the next meeting?
if that's what
Yeah.
council wants, or we can really copy and paste.
The same letter?
One of the 4 letters we've already
Okay,
sent.
well, let's just.
I'm fine with
I'll
that.
just
Yeah.
copy
Doing
it.
what you said, Regan.
And then the other thing, the other letters did have all council member signatures on it, as opposed to say just the mayor's. What do you
Fine.
say with that?
Yeah, okay, so consensus on sending a copy of a previous letter that we've already sent.
With all council members' signatures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all council members, yeah.
Yes.
Riley, are you good with that?
Yep.
Okay, so 6 consensus on that, okay. Up next, we had our first RFA meeting of the year. Was very busy, a lot of reports. I'll hit the highlights. In the chief's report, we got an update on that it's Cancer Awareness Month. And this was shocking to me, but 80% of the line of duty deaths for firefighters is due to cancer. And so the RFA is doing more to placing more emphasis on cancer screening because they want to catch this before it becomes stage 3 or 4. Yeah.
Is it the same cancer?
No, it's all kinds of cancers that they're getting. So depending upon the exposure they have, how much exposure they have to a particular chemical, but yeah, it's a huge problem in fire service across the board. So they're looking to build a wellness clinic. They're actually recognizing that the RFA, while setting the standard here in the state, we're kind of behind on what other states are doing related to cancer awareness. So looking to establish a wellness center. They're looking at sleep studies to track firefighters' fatigue. And then they're eventually want to have full body RMI or or MRI, sorry, that's my dyslexia, and CT scans for them so that they get baseline data for all of our firefighters so that they can identify if the tumor's forming before it spreads. So I just thought that was, again, the RFA is trying to be a leader in identifying and keeping their firefighters safe. So also talked about, we've got a huge need for between 60 and 70 new firefighters over the next 3 years. So they're going to be spending a lot of time recruiting, looking, and training these firefighters. So a lot of turnover and new employees coming on. They're continuing their conversations with Black Diamond on annexation. So we'll probably hear more about that as that goes along. So they're working on addressing any concerns they might have on being absorbed into the new fire service. We got an update on the holiday engines that went around their service area. They collected 28,000 pounds of food and about $21,000 in cash. So it's pretty amazing. Communities want to come out and donate as they're driving by. They mentioned they've been doing some cutting edge training with JBLM, Joint Base Fort Lewis McChord, on actually they were training the Army Rangers there on how to breach doors because they've got some of the cutting edge techniques on how to actually enter into buildings. They've got tools, so the Army was very appreciative of the RFA actually showing them how to do that in an effective and safe manner. And then finally, because it was the first meeting, we elected a new chair and vice chair. So Berna Seal out of Tequila becomes the new chair, and our own David Scalabrini becomes the new vice chair. So what else did I have? We talked about the legislative day. I too appreciate it. It was great. Thank you for setting that up, and I'll get the follow-up thank you letters out tomorrow to them. So I met with the storehouse, Stephanie Lawson, about a week ago, just to basically reintroduce myself and have Stephanie talk to me about their relationship with the community and how they'd like to see that continue. And I assured her I don't foresee any changes to that. So they're grateful to the partnership they have with Covington. Earlier today, Regan and I met with Maple Valley and Black Diamond to talk about the start of building an agenda for the upcoming Tri-Cities meeting. It's gonna be a little different than what we've done in the past in that Instead of report outs, we're actually identifying 3 key areas we'd like to talk about and brainstorm and have a working session on what each community is doing and how we can learn from each other. And as you probably can guess, these probably won't be surprising, basically on public safety, human services, and then one that might be of interest is fire service, because both Maple Valley and Black Diamond's being annexed, so we wanted to talk a little bit about some of their concerns and how we possibly can answer those and what potentially it might look like going forward. So stay tuned for that. And then finally, I went to the stargazing event we had, I don't know, it was like a week and a half ago at Covington Community Park. I saw it come up on Facebook and I was just like, I'm gonna go. And nobody else in my family went, but there was probably 7 to 12 people out there. It was really cool. It was from Seattle Astronomy Club. I guess they come out once a month. And they give a little presentation at the Aquatic Center beforehand, and then they all go over to the Covington Community Park. They have several telescopes that they can set up, and one, which I think I'm gonna have to get, is a automated. So you've got an app on your phone and it immediately set down this little, it's like a triangle, and it figures out where it is in relation to the sky, and you just type it in and it automatically turns to that, and then it will take pictures over time, and then it builds on your camera showing exactly what you've got there. So it was really, really cool. And the one thing, and I told Regan this, the lights on the bathroom were still on. So, and I guess in the past, we've been able to get those dimmed or turned off. So just going forward, but otherwise it was plenty dark. And it was pretty amazing. So it was really fun. And there were people from like Lakewood that had come up just to do this. I was like, because I was asking people, are you from Covington? And I'd say 8 out of the 12 were not from Covington. So I just thought that was really, really interesting. So anyway, that's all I have. So, okay. We're now up to our second public comment period. Where did I lose? Speakers will state their name, organization, and whether they are a Covington resident. Comments are directed to City Council, not the audience or staff. Comments are to be related to city business. Comments are not intended for conversation or debate and are limited to 4 minutes per speaker. For attendees participating by Zoom, click the raise hand button. For attendees participating by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. Once the city grants you permission to speak, press unmute in Zoom or dial *6 to unmute by phone. Is there anyone in the audience who wish to speak to the council? No? Anyone online wishing to speak to the council? All right, seeing no one approach, no one raise their hand. We don't have an executive session tonight, so this meeting is adjourned at 8:08.